Womanjika everyone, Womanjika meaning welcome. My name is Auntie Julianne and I'm an out of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people, and in recognition of doing my welcome to country, I'd like to pay my respects to my elders past, present, future and any elders that were here today, and I would also like to welcome you all here today. The Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung tribe consists of three families, the Nevins, the Terricks and the Wandans, and I'm part of the Nevin family. The three families all descend from one woman called Annie Barratt, which makes us one big family. Annie Barratt is the youngest sister of William Barratt, a pioneer for Aboriginal people in the 19th century, fighting for equality and land rights. I'm here today to welcome you all to the land of my ancestors. We call the land within our tribal boundaries our country. The Kulin Nation, Kulin meaning man, is made up of 5 groups. They are the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung, Boonwurrung, Tanarong, Wathaurong and Dja Dja Wurrung. And to give you an outline of the Wurundjeri country and the area we cover. Wurundjeri country extends from north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw Baw, south to the Morley Creek and west to the Werribee River. We cover a diverse range of land from the mountains to the beach and everything in between. Many thousands of years ago, if an Aboriginal person from another tribe wanted to cross our boundary, they would have to sit at the boundary and wait for the Narragadah, which is the headman, or an elder to come past to give permission to cross. Traditional Aboriginal culture was highly territorial, and visitors risked a violent reprisal for crossing a tribal or clan boundary without this permission, and this is how a welcome to country originated in our culture. Traditionally, being welcomed onto country meant you respected Bunjil's law. Bunjil, the wedge-tailed eagle, is our creator, and Wah the crow is our protector. And as long as you looked after the country, you had access to our waterways and our land resources. And when you enter our country, we ask that you respect our resources, our fauna, flora and water, as they are very special to us. And when you are ready to leave, we ask that you leave it the way you found it.
We have lots of council services that support our community. We support families with children, including health services for children and mums, vaccinations, playgroups, childcare, and kinder. We support young people in our community. Through events and activities, we have services that can support people with disability, older people, and carers and family of people with disability and older people. Our libraries support everyone in our community, help people learn new things, and are free to join. We support our community to have fun and be active through events and activities, sport, and recreation areas. We help look after our places and spaces, the environment, and local businesses. We have laws to keep people safe, to make sure buildings are safe, to make sure roads and footpaths are safe, to make sure our places and spaces are safe. We make sure everyone follows the law to keep our community safe and happy. Moonee Valley. It's a great place to live, work, and visit.
2025. On behalf of Moonee Valley City Council, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which Moonee Valley is located, the Wurundjeri Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their spirits, ancestors, community members, past, present and emerging. We also extend this respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples here today. Tonight's public forum will be live streamed on our website, and I warmly welcome those in the gallery and those watching online. I note that Councillor Barnes is an apology this evening. The public forum provides residents with an opportunity to present to council topics of interest and allows for further discussion, which is not possible at a formal council meeting. Tonight we have one presentation. The first is a presentation from our Community Advisory Panel. For those who may not be aware, Council convened the Community Advisory Panel representing the diverse cross-section of our community to help shape meaningful recommendations for Council. In November 2024, a panel was convened to refresh the MV 2040 Community Vision Statement. Most recently, Council convened another panel to continue the work and consider the following remit. We want to understand what a thriving community looks like in Moonee Valley. To achieve the MV 2040 vision, what should be the top 15 priority outcomes? So I would therefore like to invite members of the Community Advisory Panel to officially present their recommendations on 15 priority outcomes that will contribute to the achievement of the proposed MV 2040 community vision. So we have Jyoti, Renato, Laura, David and Christine. Thank you all.
Good evening, Mayor and councillors, and thank you for the opportunity to present to the Council. We represent the Moonee Valley Community Advisory Panel, and we would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land.
Good evening all. In November 2024, an advisory panel was formed to produce a community vision statement, or a draft community vision statement. And that was done, and the tagline of that vision statement was a thriving community. So the remit for this community advisory panel was to say, what does a thriving community look like, and to define that in terms of 15 most important outcomes. And tonight, the rest of my panel members will go through those 15 outcomes with you. The task at hand was to produce those 15 outcomes. We were not asked, and I think these will be important tasks for you guys, is to determine the outputs that are required to achieve those outcomes and to put metrics on those outcomes and those outputs so that you can monitor your performance against these. So these 15 outcomes are what we found were the most important. It's now up to you to deliver them. The people who were on the advisory panel, if you have a look at the screen above, you'll see that the blue represents the actual members in the advisory panel, what percentages that they made up, and were they representative of Moonee Valley. You can see that there's a reasonable representation of the people in Moonee Valley, which is represented by the orange. The next part that we looked at is where these people came from, and if we go to the next slide, you'll see the wards, and I'm pleased to say that Airport Ward was overrepresented, so we should do well out of this. And the Steel Creek ward was probably underrepresented. So just to be aware of that. But overall, you will see that the representation was pretty much in line with the actual percentages of those wards. I'll now hand over to Jyoti.
Thank you, David. Regarding our experience being part of this community panel, being part of community panel has been an incredibly rewarding experience to all of us. It allowed us to engage with diverse voices, listen to various perspectives, and contribute to the important discussion that shape the future of our community. Through the panel, we learned power of collaboration and value of open dialogue in addressing challenges and finding solutions. It is a reminder that when people come together with a shared goals and respect for one another's ideas, we can create a meaningful change. I am really grateful for opportunity given by Moonee Valley Council and look forward to continue to work towards a stronger and more united community. Now, I would like to present our recommendation or top 16 priorities. You guys asked for 15, but we panel member came up with 16 recommendations. I would like to recommend that community panel priority outcomes focuses on enhancing community engagement, sustainability, and inclusivity. By working together and focusing on these priorities, we can build a stronger, more resilient community for everyone. So the first priority outcome here was more discussion around renewable energy, which is a need of our future. Residents are encouraged to generate less waste and recycle more. Again, that's another very important need for the future, where more emphasis should be given on recycling around the community and making sure that we are reusing the power and the resources wisely. Also, well-planned spaces was another agenda of the discussion, where panel member felt that residents should have the access to the places other than work or home where they are comfortable to relax or connect with each other. And the fourth recommendation was community members should feel safe living and moving around the neighborhood and Moonee Valley city, which is like, I feel like more focus was on accessible transportation. Thank you.
So as we've already outlined, we have a diverse community. And so as such, we need to have our community members feel confident in that community and that environment. So they need to feel supported by a range of programs and services through all stages of their life. Older people need to feel safe and be able to live independently. And we also need to make sure that, importantly, we demonstrate a genuine connection to and support of our First Nations people. We saw in feedback on the vision statement that our First Nations people didn't feel that they were thriving, they were probably just surviving. So we need to have emphasis on that. We also need to have our public open spaces be safe and inviting. We are fortunate in this community that we've got lots of those. We can't have or get more land, but we need to use our land and do our developments, you know, according to making better use of that information, but also maintaining the wonderful assets that we have in this community.
A thriving community requires good business opportunity, and that means that needs support from the council. A thriving community needs access to suitable and secure planning housing. Now, I believe that statistically, in 2040, we'll have a population of about 156,000. That means 18% increase in population and 18% increase in housing. That means that there is a need for a well-planned housing situation. It needs to be access to a lot of people. Also, the demography of people will change. Change meaning sort of I believe that in Moonee Valley there has been sort of an increase in population, and there will be sort of an increase of 18%, therefore sort of a different demography. Therefore, it has a different way of life, and therefore we need access, excuse me, we need a sense of culture to be respected amongst the community. We need to ensure that and have confidence in the council to make honest and fair and transparent decisions. And that is important in terms of giving the community that sense of pride. We need to be proud of have access to good transport. That means transport management needs to be well defined and well done. And also, we need to remember that within the population, statistically, survey shows that we have 18% of people with mental health problems. Those people need to have access to and supported by facilities. And that is very, very important to us. You find that all the priority that we set they are intermingled. So one priority really sort of help the other priority. Is not sort of in isolation. Those priorities that the panel considered are really intermingled. So you need to look at it, not just in isolation, but every single one need to be looked at in as a group of priority. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, councillors, everyone else that's present today and those joining us over the live stream. I'm here to present to you our evaluation of the panel by the panel members. It was quite a positive experience by all. 91% of panel members agreed or strongly agreed that they felt listened to throughout the process and the panel experience. They said that the process was well considered, prepared and delivered. The process worked well. However, they also mentioned that effectiveness can only be measured later on, so it remains to be seen what impact these sessions had. 97% of panel members agreed or strongly agreed that dedicating their time to the panel was well worth it, that they had the opportunity to engage with different people in the community that they might not have had a chance to meet normally, and 79.3% would definitely recommend being a panel member to your family and friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jyoti, Renato, Laura, David and Christine, and to all community panel members. Thank you so much for giving up your time. Your input is really valued by us. Now, councillors, do we have any clarifying... Oh, we can clap, yes.
Any questions?
Deserve a big round of applause. Councillors, do you have any clarifying questions or comments for the panel tonight? Councillor Isa?
Thanks so much. It must be really hard to distill all of your thinking to 15 plus 1 bonus 1 points. I was just wondering whether there were any things that didn't quite make the cut, that there was sort of arguments amongst the panellists, or things that did make the cut that caused, I guess, which ones... on which ones were there great consensus and on which ones were there perhaps some difference of opinions?
I'll take a stab at that. So we had lots and lots and lots of outcome recommendations. And then what we did through the assistance of the facilitators is that we actually put them into themes. And a lot of them were saying similar things, but with different nuances. So what we worked together really hard as a group was to actually, how can we best articulate that to give the right meaning and sense to what it is we're trying to communicate to you? So there's a whole lot of paraphernalia that the team collected. So feel free to have a look at that. You'll see that we had in excess of 50, and then we needed to whittle it down. So it was heavily debated. There was lots of passion. There was lots, or not lots, but there was some emotion. People were wedded to their idea, but then we actually, to what Jyoti said, we actually respectfully debated that and actually came to what we believed was the right outcome. And why we have got 16 instead of 15 is because we couldn't give them all, but we had to add that extra one. So I hope that answers your question.
That was a great answer, and yes, a very tough task. Any other questions? Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Mayor. Not so much a question as a comment. I just wanted to thank the panellists that presented here tonight, but also all panel members. I attended parts of two of the sessions that the panel participated in, and it was great to see the discussion and the passion of everyone in our community that participated there. And I know that you attended the second one that I attended as well, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'd hope you'd agree with that, because it was great to see how they were coming to these decisions.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillor want to ask a question? No? Oh, yes, Councillor Isa?
If I may, is there anything on the list that you think we're not doing particularly well at the moment? Was there anything that we would really need to lift our game on to meet your expectations?
I can try answering, because I think top 15 priority recommendations are mainly focused on what council should be considering in your next future plans. However, renewable energy, more emphasis on recycling stuff, because we see still there is lots of challenge about recycling stuff around our community, and there should be more awareness and involvement by community members, or everyone needs to be there. It shouldn't be just council members who needs to do it, but it's both way. And there is another one which I feel, the more opportunities to flourish with support and investment from the council, because I understand many community members, panel members felt that they have some ideas but they don't know where to go. I understand council would have some funds allocated for the local businesses, or supporting local jobs or something, but I believe not many are aware about it. So that's another notion I could feel throughout this panel recommendation.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to add, these priorities are not in any specific order, so they're not numbered from top to bottom. They are all agreed by the 35-member panel, and they had to be a majority to get over the line. So there was
80%.
Yeah, 80%. Yeah. So that sort of tells you. So yeah, everyone was passionate about it, and majority rules.
Great, thank you. Any other questions before we wrap up? Councillor Byrne, Phil Byrne.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. And yeah, thanks for presenting, and thanks to the panel as well. Where to now with your work? Has the officers pressed you into any more significant pieces?
We'll divert to an expert.
So the work of both panels, so the draft community statement as well as the recommended priority outcomes, will become part of the MV 2040 review that I know that you're seeing throughout the year in various stages, and that will contribute to the council plan, the long-term financial plan, asset plan, advocacy strategy, all the major strategies of council, and go back out for community consultation and public exhibition before it's then presented back to council later in the year for consideration.
Thanks, Sharon. Oh, sorry, Mayor. I was also thinking about more on the personal level, where you've got you've got people from various backgrounds brought together for the task that's going to shape the amazing place that we live, and where do you go with all of that goodwill and effort, I guess?
I think that this panel, or the two panels, have actually ignited, a fire in the belly of the panel members that participated in something that we'd never done before, never thought about doing before, but now will be passionate about, not only today for this MV 2040, but for other things that may crop up, and actually taking an active interest in what's happening with council. Including, the 45-degree day that we had in Queen's Park, that ordinarily I would have said, no, it's too hot. But I thought, no, I owe it to council to participate in something as important to the community as that day.
Thanks, Mayor.
Lovely. Thank you. Great. Well, thank you very much, panel members. We actually have another presentation tonight, so I'd like to now invite Nina Franceschi to make her public forum presentation regarding objection to Objection to fence at Boeing Reserve. Thank you, Nina. You've got 3 minutes.
3. Oh, I was told 5. 3 with an extension to 5. Is that okay?
3 with an extension of 2.
I mean
sure.
2. Sorry. Okay. So yes, I'm
Thanks,
here
Nina.
for. Thank you. Hello, everybody. So yes, this is about the objection to the fence installation at Boeing, which I did a talk last month about. So I won't bore you with all the specifics because you understand each of and every one of you have been there to visit the site. But this is just about reinforcing what us members of the community believe, and that is to redirect the path to, or not redirect, to direct the path, the shared path to the Marybeck side. So I'm here because the creek doesn't have a voice, and we residents and groups are the voice to represent and advocate for the Moonee Ponds Creek. So when I say groups, and I'm not representing all these groups, I'm here to represent myself as a resident and the Friends of Moonee Ponds Creek. However, Moonee Valley Sustainability, as including their Active Transport Collective Group and the Moonee Ponds Creek Collaboration Committee, all oppose the fence along the Boeing Reserve section. So now, John, to answer your question last time, the riparian zone, I've got a definition here. The transitional area of land directly adjacent to a body of water characterised by unique vegetation and soil conditions shaped by the presence of water. So this is... Yeah. So this is important because Melbourne Water specify in their water corridors guidelines that at least 10 metres of riparian zone must be protected. So having a fence there would not protect the riparian zone. So paths. I'm going to talk a little bit about paths. The chain of ponds and the Moonee Ponds Creek trails, transport and connectivity principles and guidelines, both endorsed by Moonee Valley City Council, specify to have one side of the creek formal and the other informal. So nowhere along the creek, nowhere else along the creek in Moonee Valley do we have shared paths on both sides. So, you know, my question is, why is it so important to have shared paths on both sides only at Moonee Valley? So paths on both sides is it's very stressful for me to even think about it, because it would mean 3 metres by 3 metres on both sides width, 3 metres of concrete width on both sides at 6 metres wide of concrete. It's just way too much. So we really need to, you know, be led by example by the rest of the creek, where one side's formal concrete and the other side can be either leave the path that already exists or make it informal, make it gravel and not as wide. Because we really want to avoid negative impacts to the environment by putting 6 metres there. So now I really believe that walkers have a right to safety along the creek, and I don't feel walkers always feel safe on formal paths. I feel that people, walkers, I feel like it's a bit of a super highway now. Tracks being 3 metres wide, it's a super highway. So I really feel people, and when I say people, I mean parents with prams, joggers, walkers, dog owners, people with disabilities and elderly. They have a right to be able to go somewhere and walk or stroll along on their wheels, meaning non-bikes, you know, in a safe environment where they can just casually stroll and not have to worry that they have to keep to the left and worry about bikes running into them. So I just want to you know, enforce that it is a little bit of a super highway now that they're being built 3 metres wide. Now, I'm almost finished, so directing bikes to Marybeck will mean almost zero expenses to Moonee Valley. There will be a bit of signage and a bit of what I understand, resetting, I think the word is, on Moonee Valley side if we keep the current path, or turning it to gravel. But anyway, there's not much of an expense compared to a whole new path and fence. And the bridge does not need replacing. So I have had confirmation that from open space planners, and that the bridge does not require replacing for the purpose of directing bikes to the other side. So that's really important. If the bridge was replaced at some point in time, the expense would be half-half to each council, and yes, it would be widened at that point in time, if it ever gets replaced. And the money saved can be used for dangerous places such as Lebanon Reserve and near Strathmore Secondary, where it actually is a really steep embankment and you could kill yourself running off the edge of that. So just remember that fences are unsightly and you do not experience a natural setting, and a fence in the riparian zone impacts vegetation. We do not want to set a precedent that would encourage more fences along the creek, so objecting to a fence would set a precedent that we like the creek, not fences. And so directing to Marybeck would mean it's safe and in good the track on the other side is safe and in good condition. It's set back 20 metres from the creek. There's no safety fences and no maintenance costs. So I'm just going to close with now with my last sentence.
Seconds,
okay, from what I understand, officers are recommending that bike riders be directed to Marybeck. So there's been a bit of a switch in council here, that bike riders get directed to Marybeck, and I would really appreciate if you all supported this. Thank you.
Thanks, Nina.
Oh, any questions?
Yeah, councillors, do you have any clarifying questions or comments for Nina tonight? Councillor Theocrides.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming back, and I know that in this presentation you've answered some questions that were asked last time.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you following up on those. Thank you.
So I've got that in writing, and I'm just finding out whether I can pass that on to you. So
no worries. It's great to hear anyway. So
I only found that out yesterday.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? No. Thanks, Nina.
Thank you, everyone.
This concludes the public forum for tonight. Thank you to those watching and participating this evening. Good night.